Welcome to DreamWeaver And Chill, and thanks for chilling with me.
Good to be here.
Awesome. Some of you may recognize that voice, some of you may not. But this is someone I've seriously wanted to talk to since day one of the idea for the show. It is Pavek, everybody. Pavek, thanks for being on the show. And am I pronouncing that right? Is it Pavek? Pavek?
I'm not really sure, but I do a Pavek, but it doesn't matter. It's all text anyway, so there's no real pronunciation. Apparently, it was a real word. Didn't know that. Someone was trolling me back and said that it was a phrase for gregariousness.
Well,
which fits.
That might, yeah, I would agree. Well, I'm going to call you Pavek because that's what I've been saying for almost 4 years.
Has it been that long?
It's been a long time. Now, I know this is season dose, but I think it's important that we cover some of the season 1 questions because those are the get to know you questions, and I know a lot of people who want to get to know Pavek.
Perfect. Now, before the first question, give me just a moment and prepare.
You got it? That's probably the best prep we've had here.
I would hope. All right, let's get some of this started.
Okay. Well, just right off the bat, we're gonna hit the big one right away. We're gonna start off with a bang. Why does EMC hate you so much?
I do not know. I don't know if there's hate there. I know I'm vocal, and Vulcan is a great representation of EMC, being one of the more vocal parts. And we argue, bicker, spar, yell at each other through various chats over the years. So that definitely could be it. Also, I'm a smart ass and I won't go away. But after a year and a half ago, they largely left me alone.
Well, was there a time where you guys were like friendly?
Well, I was in EMC once, and various other alliances along the years with same EMC players. I was relatively friendly with the group, but individually, sometimes more hard feelings with our higher accounts than otherwise. And I'm sure I deserved every or most of it, but I can be challenging at times.
I just call you grumpy. Sometimes you seem grumpy.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
grumpy, angry, pissed off, and it's easy to go on a rant online and just sort of go through it, and sometimes it comes right back.
Now, the two of us have been described when in one alliance, and I don't know if you remember this, but to be toxic. Remember that?
You're toxic, I'm slipping under with the taste of a poison paradise. I'm addicted to you, don't you know that you're toxic?
Oh, I remember. I remember that, and then I remember with your memory screenshots from a little while back. I remember that screenshot. Nah, honestly, I would kind of agree. We would ramp each other up, and all we need is a platform, and we would sort of support each other back and forth.
We had some fun times. Yeah, like there were a few times when people would give us an opening, and bam! I always knew that you'd be there to. I mean, of course, I think our politics are probably very different, but I think that our take on the game is very similar, is that it's a game, so let's have some fun.
Exactly. It's not like anybody loses a finger when you blow up a ship or a miner or raid a base. It's all fixable. Oh no, I took It used to be, oh, I used to take 10,000, then it became 1,000,000. Now it's becoming, oh, I took 1,000,000,000 from you. But it's a game. I can crack someone and get that 1,000,000,000 right back for you if it's really that big of a deal. It's just imaginary stuff.
Do you remember the good old days when if you found someone with like 100,000 dilithium, it was like payday?
Right. Where you're like, oh, I have to save my my missions for the hostiles or the boss fights to be able to go ahead and get the dilithium there, but you find it from a base and you're like, oh my god, I am so very happy. And then spend wave after wave of ships trying to break in. But I still lament the, remember when you had to, where you would actually take damage when you would attack a broken base?
Every ship. Yeah, every ship.
Yeah. I loved that. Of, it would keep the riffraffs out. Of, now, if you can attack, say, Ska's account and he's cracked, you can go in easy peasy, but needing 20% of your base strength for a miner to get through and be able to raid, oh, that would make raiding so much more challenging.
Well, I think the best example of this new dynamic is Emoji Dave. Do you remember when he got cracked?
I wasn't part of it, but I remember hearing about it.
Well, I got killed trying to take a piece. I got a couple of bites, and but I was like, "Hey, man, I'm not one of your enemies." I think it was Slang who killed me a few times, but he had cracked it. And he was like, "Look, man, I spent a lot of dough trying to crack this base, but everybody was just getting scoops and scoops and scoops, and it wasn't like the old days. These guys don't know, like." That's why we used North Stars, because they were tough.
Right.
Now I don't even know if people even care about North Stars anymore.
Well, gone are the day, or mostly, of cracking a base with a miner, but heck, have you run into like Novas and things like that higher up the food chain?
Not yet. I'm just getting into deep space.
What, like the Nova, it's a fancier version of Botany Bay. Don't have it way down the way, but I want to say it was like 20 million. And I mistook it for a Botany Bay, attacked it, and was really confused why my ship blew up.
Well, let me ask you this. When did you start playing Star Trek Fleet Command, and what was your first alliance?
So I started Thanksgiving of whatever year it was released.
18.
COVID. Okay, 2018. So I originally set a reminder to download Romance of the Three Kingdoms on it. And they and Star Trek Fleet Command had the same release date about. So I went into the App Store to download Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and I saw Star Trek Fleet Command. So I'm like, fuck it. Let's go ahead and download it and see where it goes. And been here ever since. Really unhealthy addiction, but I love every second of it. And then First Alliance, I remember, I think they make you do it through the tutorial. So I made one that was either TS or something, and the responsibility became too big because, as people may know, I have commitment issues when it comes to games and alliances and things like that. So got 2 players, freaked out, ditched it. I still saw it floating around for a number of years, but I've forgotten what it's originally named. So I can't find it again. But outside of that, first real alliance was Fury. I may have been in smaller ones, but Fury was my first real alliance.
I remember those days. Just a little note. I used to actually create things like an online comic book, an actual comic book, but then I found this game, and I have become a consumer, I think. You're right. It's addictive.
I've been able to skip everything else, but the dopamine rushes that we get every time we press silly little buttons, especially if there's a fight involved, forget about it. I'm hooked.
I really like to annoy people on Galaxy Chat and get the people who don't normally try to insult me to join in. And when that happens, that's really good for me.
Yeah, when it comes to Galaxy Chat, I really just like the audience, and sometimes when people are engaging, it's great. But also, you kind of see when the standard trolls all start to beat up on one player. The name that I've created for myself acts as a lightning rod a lot of times. So just by jumping in, they're focusing on me because you and I can take it.
Yeah.
Pronger probably can take it. Take it. And go from there. But there's some people who, they're just getting beaten up for no reason. And yeah, it's a game, but people take it really seriously sometimes. And it's just easier to jump in and go, hey, look at me.
I think
Fight with me versus anything else.
I think we have a lot of people who are probably in their 40s, 50s, 60s who are used to being maybe the head of the household or something and having people listen to them. Otherwise, you get kicked out of the house. And when, we're an older demographic.
Yeah. And, oh, God, what is it? It used to piss people off of back really in the beginning when people would blow up my ship or a miner or whatever. I would just open communication with explain yourself. And the rage of that demographic would just come down the pipelines. How dare you? I'm a grown-ass man. I will not be spoken to in such disrespect. Blah, 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 blah. Just like... Yeah, I'm a grown-ass man, too. Of what the hell? It's just a game.
Yeah, I really thought this game was going to be more like Star Trek instead of like skins, Star Trek skins on a pirate game.
Yeah,
but I haven't left, so I guess I'm satisfied with what it is.
I've pretty much got as far as I expected myself to get, or wanted to, was getting the auger. When I started and found out about it, I'm like, yes, I would love it. And I still love it. But that was the max that I could imagine. And now that they've added so much extra stuff, I'm not really sure what to plan for next.
Just like you, it was the Enterprise for me. And I was like, if I could just get that'd be so cool. I got it.
Yep. I hated the Enterprise up until the Nero balance updates and them shifting things around a little bit. It just could never figure out how to beat the damn thing. And
not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah. Strike Team Una, and yes, the others, but the whole Strike Team overrides everything, and that's just... It's nice to see, but really disappointing at the same time.
It's weird because how do we counter that? You just can't.
Raw power of... Thankfully, those who have augers tend not to go to the Katinga, but the auger I've gotten strong enough, and I'll still have to test for a bit, but with the Valdor, with the Yuki Yaga, or whatever the Klingon's name is, and a Char can rip right through an auger, even with the Strike Team. But that's expensive.
Yeah,
you'll find out when you get the 42s, but that burns through a lot of trite.
Yeah, I am here, and I don't know how I got here or why I leveled up. But, I figured, I guess, at 39, a level 60 couldn't hit me. So why deny someone that enjoyment?
Right, you gotta open yourself up to everybody.
Yeah, the top.
Especially
Yeah.
Especially with the drum for you must shield or we will take all your stuff.
I like it. It's great. It's like a warning before the purge or something.
But isn't this level of activity supposed to be going on all the time anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I would think that people get raided all the time. I think it's just like a little excuse to, and I don't know why. I don't know why you would even say that when you're just going to raid and kill all my miners and say it's for the good of the server.
Right, and it's questionable if it's good for the server. Yeah.
Well, luckily, you and I don't get to determine what's good for the server. That's another crew that determines that.
Well, typically, yep. And anything I say is absolutely wrong.
Well, yeah, because you're evil.
Exactly.
Well, that's all relative, I guess.
It always is.
Well, you are solo right now. You have your own alliance called Chaos.
Yeah, I'm not very imaginative.
It's okay. I've heard that before. I've been a member of that before.
Yeah.
Not for very long, but...
I don't remember why I got kicked out of Chaos. I think it was Armadas. But Vulcan and I, butting heads. And it never seems to last very well for me. Now, if I was 10 levels stronger, then might be a different story.
You know, it was different for me. I joined to... Because I was in ZFG, we were very concerned with this whole chaos system. It was a lot of people. Jack the Ripper was the admiral.
Yep.
And yeah, we had to do something about Jack. We had to keep an eye on Jack. So I told him, look, hey guys, can I join you? I want to spy on you. And they were like, sure, come on. And of course, it was a bunch of GOT guys that had left, and I called them traitors at the time, rats jumping the ship, those kind of things. And so they did not like me.
Yeah.
But I was there just a little while. I was able to keep our people safe for the most part of, hey, we're raiding this system and move your bases, those kind of things. And then finally I quit when it was just like, I mean, some of the things that I was seeing on that, it wasn't Discord back then. Remember, they had this super secret other app.
Like Link or Links or
it was
something. There was green.
Yeah, it was something else. And you were in there, and it was like they had to test your blood type and stuff to get in. And the things they were saying were like, oh, I know that guy. He has a medical condition, and he takes sleeping pills, and so we can just raid him all night. He'll never know. And I was like, I'm out of here. I can't even spy here anymore. I got to get out of here. So I told Vulcan, hey, I'm leaving, or I left. And he goes, hey, you left? And I said, yeah. I said, man, I can't be that evil. And I remember him telling me, hey, it's just a game. And ever since then, that infinite wisdom I've used that. It's just a game.
I was in Chaos. I want to say it was right in the beginning. I don't remember what alliance I was in, but a person's name who I'm not being very happy I'm associated with, Brian TX.
I remember him. Yeah, loudmouth, yeah. Very loud.
And did some nasty stuff towards others, so the rumors go. But he messaged me in whatever alliance. We were like, get over here quick. So Drop Tags joined right when they switched from AD. Was it AD?
Angels of Death, yeah.
Yeah, over to Chaos.
It was a weird thing. They were GOT. AD was a GOT, and then he wanted to be in charge. And so they said, no, sorry. And that became Chaos eventually. Eventually.
Yeah. There were only a few GOTs that didn't accept the GOT name, which I always found weird.
Well, we were associated with Fury and EXC like brothers, you know?
Yep, I remember. And the many attempts to kill Fury. I remember on one of my walkabouts from Fury, I was in Darkfleet. And I think it was IMDY grabbed a bunch of Fury players and Triple Nickel. Do you remember him?
I don't know that name. That's weird.
Triple Nickel sent me a message because I left Darkfleet, rejoined Fury, that Fury was already dead and I shouldn't waste my time. Wow. But he was kind of a Testicules higher level player at the time, back when things were new. but he burned out.
Yeah, a few of them did that. I think testicles. I don't even know how to say his name. Testicles. I think
800-pound gorilla.
Yeah, that's what he was then. Who else was it? Well, there's a few that Odin was my mentor, and he was in a wreck. So once he left, it was kind of downhill from there for me. But let me ask you this. So this is not a game question, Star Trek Fleet Command game question. This is something I know you're into. What is your favorite playable race in Morrowind?
Ooh.
And why is it a Khajiit?
Because they are never guilty of those crimes.
And they have cool, scratchy voices.
Yes, they do. Ooh. With Morrowind specifically, not Elder Scrolls, but Morrowind specifically, it would have been the Dunmer.
Oh, that's a dark elf?
Yep.
Yeah.
In part because they came out of the box fire resistant and they could summon their ancestor. And I always liked being able to hide and then summon someone else to fight and die for me. And just keep on doing it as I could.
I was so boring back then. I was always like, ooh, a Nord or an Imperial.
I always liked the Dunmer. Also, then later on, it feels more immersed in the game when you're like, okay, I'm going to make a deal with the Talvani and go ahead and get my crystal and a mushroom and be able to turn it into a house. That was always a lot of fun.
That was one of my favorite, and still is one of my favorite games. I wonder if it holds up still. I wonder if I could play that now and not be totally disgusted.
I think it's still replayable. Well, I have heard that it's harder to play it on modern computers, but I've heard it's still definitely replayable.
It was just nice. It would rain. It would stop. You'd be walking all night, and then it would become morning. It was so new to me.
Yep. But then out of nowhere, a cliff racer comes and just hits you a lot.
Well, I remember I was wanted in a bunch of cities because I just go and kill cops and whatever, the guards and things. And I had some kind of crystal armor that I had found. Don't know what it was called, but it was like black crystal or something.
Either onyx or glass?
Oh, I don't know. Was it ebony armor? It was ebony armor.
Yep.
Ebony armor. Yeah, that was a good game.
Oh, I would cheat, and there's a map that will tell you where shipwrecks are.
Oh.
So I would go to a specific shipwreck, get the ring of breathing, go down, get glass armor, and go through it. Or when they try to assassinate you and you win, that armor is just so svelte, so nice in the beginning.
Well, couldn't the Argonians breathe underwater? Couldn't they go underwater? Yeah. I never played as one of those guys.
Yeah, I played as an Argonian in ESO, and it's a lot of fun to swim with them. But typically, I now go for the Breton.
Oh, magic user, huh? Natural magic user.
Yep.
Why do I remember all this stuff? Why do we both remember all this stuff?
Well, I still play periodically.
Oh, I do not. It's just in there. It's something that's in my brain. Well, assuming you've listened to one or a few interviews from last season, did you have a favorite one?
Iron Man definitely was a enlightening thing to listen to. I've forgotten the name. Forgive me. It might have been Dax. Or maybe it was Iron Man. I can just imagine a glass clinking with some ice.
Oh, that's Gigi or whatever. ZG.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think he was drinking. I was at Chili's, and I believe he was drinking, so that would make a lot more sense from the way he talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And demanded that I did it right then. I wasn't going to get a second chance, and I was like, I'm with my family at Chili's. And I said, okay, let's just do it. So that thing is
That's
famous.
dedication right there.
Yeah, that's what you have to do, you know.
Sometimes.
Well, back to season 1. What is your personal code of ethics in the game?
With that, it is just a game. Let it go when people want to tap out. You're like, okay, tap out. Treat others as they treat you, but make sure that they know what your point is, even if they refuse to listen.
That's good. I mean, that's fair. Now, what would you do if you were the most powerful player in the game?
Honestly, I don't know. I jokingly tell myself that everything Vulcan has done to me in game over the years, I would be 5 times worse to everybody else. But truthfully, I think I would just sort of try to keep things balanced or imbalanced, really, of making sure no group gets too strong, break up the ones that get too big, and just sort of try to make sure that everybody is relatively even. Because those are where the fun fights are, is when you're a challenged group where you're relatively even of players, and being able to go ahead and have that shifting of crews and constantly just trying to adapt and overwhelm one another. It's no fun if you're too big or too small.
There's also a threat now, and it's kind of slowed a bit, but for a while there was, if you piss someone off too much, you were going to be permanently kill on sight.
Yep. Well, that's happened a lot before. I've been to that point, I think, a few times with the larger powers that be, but I do tend to shut up, and I can't hide, but I can make it just not really easy for people. Changing names every few hours, shifting alliances back and forth, making sure that you're in their friendly alliances, but no hard feelings if you get kicked, kind of thing. I know Baby Yoda was sort of kill on sight, perm banned kind of thing. And he's quote unquote playing on another server.
Yeah, and apparently he's thrown some cash at that game because he's moved up very fast. I
was told that I was playing on another server a few times, which was always a hoot.
Now, I have played on other servers, and it's not the same. They're although people will tell you here there are servers that are much worse than us. Most are nicer. Most are, I don't know. I don't want to say that power is not concentrated in the same way that it is here. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Especially European servers. I don't like the lag that I had because I was going to servers to, just observe and some of my friends who are content creators in other countries like Portugal, I would go to her server just to see, hey, what is this like? And they're very polite, but we're so lucky that we have very few differences in language.
Oh, yes.
Because I think I was 137 maybe. And I mean, there's Russians, there's every European country represented, and they tend to cluster together, of course.
Well, understandably.
And then they bring up all their old racial hatreds and things like that. So that's a different thing that I guess we have it here. We have discrimination here, but
give me a few minutes. I can throw a few choice words out and start an argument real quick.
Yeah.
Good Lord, I was June 19th or Juneteenth. for a few years, and just having the name Juneteenth on Juneteenth is enough to get people to rage.
And it's crazy. I mean, it doesn't. How is that going to affect your life? It doesn't.
Nope.
It shows. It's very showing of where you're at when you react that way. So, are you, or would you consider yourself a wallet warrior?
No. I'm way too cheap for that.
And
I rinse when I do a battle pass.
And I guess what is the? People throw that around. Where's the cutoff? Is it like people are spending hundreds of dollars a month or thousands? I would say if you're spending $1,000 a month, you're a wallet warrior.
I think I would classify a wallet warrior more like it being situational. Not so much the dollar amount, but it's when you have the luxury of being able to throw down a lot of cash to beat the shit out of someone that's pissing you off.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's what I would consider a wallet warrior. Not the people who are like, okay, I make X amount a year, I'm comfortable, I've got $1,000 to spend on stupid shit, this is what I'm going to do it with. To me, that's a lot. But it's an expected expense, it's normal maintenance, okay, that's fine. But when it's I've been gone for a year, I've come back, and damn it, Pavek is stronger than I am right now, that will not stand. And then you spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, however much, to be able to level up and get the ship that will be able to beat me senseless, kind of thing. That's what I would consider more of a wallet warrior.
That seems like it seems very specific. I don't know who you're talking about.
There are a few people who that actually has happened to. So you could, I'm sure, guess a few people. But that's what I would consider a wallet warrior.
I agree.
I am not one of those.
Yeah, I think that's a better definition. Now, go ahead.
Oh, because I want people to spend money. I want Scopely to think this is a immensely profitable project for them, so they can continue to have it go on. So if I do spend, its value for me lengthens, because I would hate them to announce they're closing the game. Or, hey, Star Trek Fleet Command 2 will come out. And then them shutting this one down and us having to start over on the same game, just slightly better graphics.
Oh, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't. We would. I recently started playing a Lord of the Rings game. And it's seasonal, kind of like our arcs, but it's seasonal. Uh-huh. Season 1, I went through season 1. I thought it was great. I had a great time. Got, Gandalf, the Grey, and all my, Aragorn, all these guys. And then at season 2, you start over. You still have your characters, but they're like level 1 now, and you have to. And I was like, no, delete. I'm done.
Right.
I'm not going to do that.
You get emotionally invested with these things. I'm emotionally invested with the crews that I have for which fight I'm planning on having. To start over, oh no, it's just not. So I have a vested interest to encourage people to keep on spending, but the ones that just do it to rage spend, I guess, is what the kids call it.
Good for them. People always say, oh man, I can't believe Ska spent all that money. And I'm thinking, Ska's not the only one, guys. Like, look up there.
Right. It's just a bummer that I'll never be able to be a challenge for those people. Because that would be a blast. I would love to be able to be on parity with, say, Vulcan and be able to test crews out with him and it not be so horribly overwhelming. And I think that the top echelon misses out a lot of that because they don't have players to spar with as much or as often as, say, me or you, where we can fight down and fight up, and sometimes win.
Well, I remember at one point I had a screenshot of, on the same screen, my ship and GNN's ship. And I think he was like 7 levels ahead of me or something. And that was like early 2019.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, now it's different. It's very different. But back then it was very difficult to level up. It took time and probably money. Now people are level 35s with like 300 kills. And I'm like,
yeah,
who is this, Gandhi? I mean, you're basically a pacifist.
right. It's these, how are you getting as high level as you are with 15 kills? You're not even hitting a node. You're just sort of moving on. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's peaceful. It's very peaceful. And I guess that's where we're at now. And I don't want anyone to take that from this conversation that I want to attack people. I was attacked on Galaxy Chat one day by someone telling me, trying to bait me into attacking people outside of Row, because I had talked about Row and how I really wish it wasn't there, but I live within it because I'm not really powerful. But I really, man, wish it. I think it was the Black Widow interview where we were like, yeah, we miss the good old days when there was no Row and we hated IMDY and they just killed everybody. And boy, I got called a coward and I don't know, all kinds of nasty names to get me to try to violate Row in an attempt to get me to be KOS, of course.
Of course.
But it's a sloppy player that I guess doesn't know me that well. I don't fall for tricks like that.
Row. I hate Row. But it lets you be productive while you're AFK, so I see the benefit. But it's this, everything is Row of, oh my god, you hit an idle ship. Oh, that's not covered under Row. Oh, it is covered under Row. Who gives a fuck? Repair, resend. Go back.
Yeah.
Since we had this conversation, move on with your day. Get back to killing your kills. You should thank me for getting it to ping to remind you that you're playing a fucking game.
And here's another thing, guys. If you're not in deep space, things are different there. Things are very peaceful there. If you're not a 0 node and you're not at war, you're pretty safe.
Yeah.
I mean, I discovered this by killing a couple of people who were showing massive amounts of 4-star materials. And
Oh, yes.
I had to be educated, and I apologized to both of them. Like, one was a Revo guy, and he was like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "Sorry, you're way over your OPC." And he's like, "But it's dark space," and I'm like, "I don't give a crap." Like, I had to go back and say, like, "Man, sorry, I didn't know. I do know now. We can just sit up there all day, as long as we're not 0. We could be OPC and on 100,000 node and just be there all day."
Like, on that, now at least population pressure's dropped. I can always find a node.
There's always a 0 node somewhere.
I appreciate that, but my God, the terminology of Row has been expanded to, oh, I'm online with my base. You should have seen a ship move out. I'm covered under Row. Like, what in God's name are you talking about? And this is sort of what led me to set my own alliance for a little bit, which I'm now reconsidering, is I was in Server 17 chat, and a conversation happened over scanning the crew of ships that are in Cardassian space, and if they didn't have a war crew, they would be covered under Row in relation to the PvP event, so you shouldn't be able to destroy them. And I may have just sort of lost my shit a little bit, because that's unreasonable. Thankfully, it's a little much.
It sounds like a European server to me. Very polite, but very brutal. So, well, you answered my question about Row. You don't like it. Now,
I see the benefit, and I will get crushed if I don't at least to the bare minimums, especially in deep space or dark space.
Now, how do you feel about war when it comes to a super powerful group hitting you, and the only response you can actually do is to kill their miners? Would you say that's okay, or is that cowardice?
So, if the disparity of power is that great between the two, how the hell is a war happening anyway? It boggles the mind, and the larger alliance should just be better human beings, shrug it off and move on. If the object of your war can only hit your miners, you should reevaluate why you're at war.
Yeah, it's probably not a war. It's probably like a little insurrection.
Right.
A protest.
Miners are boring. So in conflicts, I typically avoid them. It's the fun targets. It's going after your higher capital ships. Your 4-star uncommons or trite is really expensive. So hitting those first. Hitting your rare and epic armadas. Those are your money fights for it. Miners are just repair and resend.
Yeah, hitting armadas is a serious deal. If you're doing that, that's especially if it's like a rare. People get pissed.
Well, I felt really bad. There was we'll call it a miscommunication between myself and the LVE family, but I got crosshairs, or war was declared, whatever you want to call it, and they would kill my miners, and I hit whatever I could find. So it was some rare armadas in Cardassian space, and I felt dirty about it. And that's just kind of sucky to do, but it was the only recourse to be able to get people to talk, is by costing them money.
And it's great to have. I will give LVE this. They have a lead diplomat. It's Iron Man. And if you talk with him, he's reasonable.
Voice definitely helps humanize the conversation.
Yes, and that's part of why I do this. I think this will really help you as well, because it doesn't sound like you're the devil, and I don't hear like screams and agony in the background, so.
Wait, we talked about doing a voice modulation, right? Oh, darn it, it doesn't work that way. We can do it later through editing.
Yeah, no, that would be too hard at this point. You're too far in. You're not an evil monster with a deep, scary voice, so.
Oh, I wish I was, though.
At times, me too. Well, do you like incursions? Is that a good thing, or how do you feel about it?
I enjoy it. It's not enough, but it's definitely a good start. Meaning, so with the incursions that you have to get points in a specific sector for PvP, the player base just doesn't seem to respond very well to it, so there's slim in pickings. But it's really enjoyable when it's there. I do wish that they would take the hitting an empty base mechanic to go ahead and win ranking for the solo leaderboards. I wish they would change that, because that's really spammy.
Yeah.
And I hate chill.
That's kind of like the boot and loot days.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do enjoy the raiding part. When I can find a battle that is within my range, it's a lot of fun. Getting completely wiped out by major powers of the other server is a blast, which will also help you in a damage-dealing solo leaderboard as well. A little spammy, but you get hit by a really, really large ship, you get first once in a while.
What I really like is I'm not as upset with the other server as I am with my people when they hit me. I expect it. For some reason, it's a weird feeling like, oh, I'm getting attacked by somebody from a different server. Okay, that's what they're here for.
Right.
There's no history. There's no, they're not telling me to not drive off a cliff or something like that. It's just like, okay, I get it. This is what we're here for.
Right. You're there to break people's shit and take it home. That's it. It's a lot of fun. That's the purpose of it. It's good. When it's within our own server, we've been in this game for a really long time. We all have backstories with each other and instant emotions of Vulcan just messaged me his little devil horns and a peace sign. What the fuck did that just mean? You read right into it.
Yeah. Well, what does that mean?
Who cares? But it all plays mind games, and we've all got past history. Hell, I remember just by seeing it, you read into it so much. I hit someone's OPC, I think, or maybe I hit an idol worship. I don't remember what. But Queen Nefertiti of Fury had a lot of emotion that night for other stuff that's no one else's business. But stuff happened really emotional, and I was like, Pavek did something evil, and then just started ganking every ship of mine that she could find repeatedly. And boom, we had a minor little war. We've got all that backstory going on, and instead of it bringing us closer, it does tend to pull us apart. But when it's that server is here for one very specific goal, it takes the emotion right out.
Yeah, I mean, there's no history. And
Nope.
And I did hear, I'll give the props to somebody in Proton who told me about this. There was somebody who, from another server, was trying to recruit players from our server to their alliance when they realized, oh, wait, you're not even on my server. Because those alliances pop up on our list now.
Yeah, they do.
That's confusing.
It's really confusing.
It's very confusing. Well,
What, the one that we're supposed to be going against is supposed to be a strong one of some sort? I don't know anything about him, but...
don't worry, we have Ska.
Yay.
Who is actually a really nice guy in real life.
Yes.
I mean, I enjoyed talking to him, even though, like, that whole thing about us being toxic, he's not wrong. It's like a chemical reaction. We build on each other, but when I talked to him for like an hour, the guy was so cool. He's a little cocky, but whatever, that's his deal. That's, he's kind of like Scarporin level 50, but just not as bro. But do you have a favorite alliance that you've been in your time? I know you're in Chaos now, but what was your favorite of all time?
I really don't know anymore. There are certain periods of time that I loved. So Fury back in the early days when I was still allowed in Fury, where I was doing recruiting and are you guys furious with the funny little Fury spelling and all that jazz? Yeah. I had a blast. There was a level of camaraderie that I don't find very often. Proton before the fall. There was a level of camaraderie that I really, really appreciated. There's little moments that were a lot of fun. So even when I was in EMC 2, EMC 3, a lot of fun people, a lot of great players. So there were magical moments there as well. I could go through almost every alliance I've been in and think of something that was really special about them. But I can't shut up, and I hate checking in to do what I want to do, so it causes tension.
Well, you were in Kill, right?
I was in Kill.
Yeah, I remember that. That was probably early to mid 2019.
Of that,
Kill.
Let's see. Yeah, I joined Kill, worked with JD, or Jay Dixon,
yeah.
JD, and I think that was the name, because Kitty set it up and then was forced to abandon it, but was feeding information to Pickle, and Pickle was feeding information to me to try to keep Kill in the EMC sphere of influence, I guess, or the sphere. I'm not really sure who we were aligned with. But then, poof, we were part of the LVE family. And, yeah.
Now, the LVE family is interesting because I think they're actually, per capita, it's a stronger alliance or alliance of alliances than like EMC. EMC's got some really powerful guys in 2 alliances. But LVE's big. They're huge.
There's a lot of players.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of accounts.
Yeah. Well, that's another story. There's a lot of accounts out there, and I don't know if there's as many players.
It's just gotten really quiet in GC lately.
Yeah, it has, hasn't it? I get a couple of little... I can get them to speak up a little bit. I can throw down a little action. When they call people traitors, I remind them that we've all kind of been a traitor at one point in time.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, what's your least favorite alliance?
Ooh. I would love to say EMC, but unfortunately that's just not true. Some of the more mouthy ones I've got conflict with, but overall they're great players, great accounts. I'd have to say INDY. Probably because they just weren't nice.
They were brutal.
I'm sure there's minor alliances that I've bounced off over the years, but that's one of the only ones that I can really think I've got animosity towards. And then later Fury at the end.
Yeah, Fury kind of... It was really rough at the end. I like a lot of those guys, and I used to talk to Sick all the time, but...
And that's why it was so confusing.
It's weird, man. It just flamed out. It just collapsed somehow.
It sounded like they were kind of getting hit pretty hard over a long period of time, and it's rough to play that way.
I will tell you, when EMC is on you, they are diligent. They're everywhere. They have other alliances telling them where you're at. It's an amazing apparatus of killing.
Yeah, it really is.
It's art almost.
Yep.
It was fun to get a few of them talking, because it seemed like they did not want to be doing it. They were like, I have to do this. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't have to do anything. Like, are they holding you hostage? Do they have your family? Events, event rewards. What do you think about event rewards?
They've gotten better.
Do you think that's why a lot of people stay in alliances?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
The less work you can do and the maximum benefit you can get. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's what's killing me right now in Chaos is watching these major rewards go out of my reach. I get greedy.
I've seen your name pop up a few times in some leaderboards, but I know what you're saying. There are people who have left, let's just say EMC, people who have left EMC, and they're used to a different style of play. Like, they get frustrated because someone will hit you, and they think, well, don't you know who I am? Like, well, you're not with them anymore. So you got to get that out of your head, and you're not going to get as many rewards.
No.
That's frustrating, I think, for some.
And got to give up some freedom for it. And most groups are all right, but sometimes, at least for me specifically, I get a wild hair up my butt, and I'm like, no, I have to do this. Or that one guy, he said something that upsets me, so deuces.
I used to get in trouble at ZFG for that. I would say, hey, guys, I got to leave. And I eventually got if you leave one more time, you're not allowed back. It was like 4 times. So I was like, okay, well, peace. I'm out.
Oh. And now with the Alliance rep going on, which really isn't that hard to build up, but it definitely is going to hunker people down even more.
I will say it's brought us together in GOT. We have this cool feeling of, okay, we're all working together to get this base for whatever it does. You know, I know it gives us event stuff, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I don't know what it does, but I love being able to hear them say, oh, we need to build this part, and then I just swoop in and build it and then finish it, and they're like, whoa, what just happened? I was like, I have been saving this stuff. So it's fun.
Yeah.
Well, what keeps you coming back to this crazy game?
It's ruined me for everything else. I'm honestly not sure of the dopamine kick, the ongoing trying to find something new, the awkward social relations that we all have with each other. It keeps me checking, and the more stuff I get of thinking, like, I don't have that much right now. I've got 79 billion parsteel, 2 billion trite, 69 million dilithium, which is mind-blowing. But the more I get, the more I have to remember, okay, have I shielded? And then checking a few times. And you and I are, I am not going to say old school, but I have to set my shield, close the app, log in back into the app, and make sure that it actually shielded.
You remember those days. You remember those days.
Yes. Or the don't leave your miners out overnight, because if they hit you just right and you have the wrong crew, the game will register it as an attack and drop your shield.
Yep,
I was never able to prove it, but yeah, so I still pull all my miners in at night just in case.
There was an envoy trick I heard about too, where, I don't know, some certain crew and an envoy could crack a shielded base. I never saw it. To be honest, the person who told me was that guy Khan's Wrath. So it was probably some drunken, mouth diarrhea.
Yep.
Well, what does the server not know about Pavek that would make them see you in a different light?
Oh, God. I'm not really sure. He's pretty much throw everything out there.
Well, what's the wallpaper on your phone right now?
Generic wallpaper. I think it's sort of a cloud of some kind. Just whatever came defaulted with the phone.
You gotta fix that. You gotta have. I would think you'd have Nero up there or something, or a Valdor or something. But we do live normal lives, don't we?
We do. I wake up periodically and go to work and hate it and come back and have a blast with me and my dogs and so on.
Well, I have one more question for you.
All right.
Now, this isn't about the game. This is about real life. I know I just kind of stepped into that real life area, but if you could do one thing in life that was guaranteed to succeed, what would it be?
The only thing that comes to mind is find the eternal fountain of youth kind of thing. But
I mean, if that could be it. You've got the infinity gauntlet in your hand right now.
If that's it, that's probably where I'd go. But that would end in horrible heartbreak every so often, watching everybody around you die. I would like to find a better reason of why bad things happen. Understand it. A number of years ago, after I had to put 2 of my French bulldogs down, there was that, why do bad things happen to good dogs, and why do things happen, and all that jazz. And I found a nifty little line in the Talmud, which nothing else can really connect it together, but basically one reason why is for us to exist. And I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form, so I have to suspend my own faith and disbelief for this to work. But for existence to exist, it can't have God. because God in its infinite power and well, infinity, even the smallest portion of it would overwhelm reality. So in making reality itself, and Genesis kind of touches on it, making reality exist, it had to make a space without God. And that's why bad things happen, is because literally the universe had to be broken and separated from God to exist and let it spin out of control. But I would like a better answer than that.
I like that. I'm going to actually study that a bit. Well, Pavek, thanks for chilling with me.
I definitely chilled. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll see you in the game.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You do well, and I'll see you around.
Maybe I'll hit your base.
More than welcome. Cheers.